In the previous session, we've discussed about select options, selection screen, and we've seen how you can provide a selection screen to the user where you can input a complex selection criteria for your program to consider while processing. We're just one step away from doing our next assignment. So before I do that next assignment, let's look at this messages topic. So that in our next assignment we can also add some validations and show some relevant messages to the user. So in this session we'll discuss about messages. We'll see how you can show different types of messages to the user while he is running your application. So I'll create a new program. There are different types of messages you can show to the user, and the syntax is very simple. So what I'll do is I'll create one simple screen and we'll validate, and then we'll show the message to the user. So let's say data st_makt, type makt, then I'll have one material field. So whatever the user inputs, like here we are providing an option for the user to input a material number, and once he inputs and executes our program, we want to first validate whether he has entered a correct material number, right? What is the correct material number? Any material that exists in the MARA table, because MARA is the material master table. So all the materials should be maintained in the system first, and the user can only run this report using one of those materials, and we can validate whether a material is a valid material or not by checking whether it exists in this material master table MARA. What I'll do is I'll write a select query, select star from MARA, or in this case, since we are processing from MAKT, I can also check that table, because when you create a material, it also updates this MAKT table. So if the material number exists in MAKT table, that also means it's a valid material. So I can either check against if you're just writing the code for validation only, then you can check against the master table for validation. But if you're writing a select statement, and if you want to check whether that particular select was successful or not, then you can write the select, and after the select you can write your condition. And if it is not successful, and if you want to show a message, then you can write the code to display the message. So I'll use MAKT in this example. Select star from MAKT into, I'll say select single, because we want to select a single record, into stmakt, where matnr equals to pmatnr, and this table also has language field. And what I'll do is I'll use the system field sylangu. This is a system field langu, which has the logon language of the user. So I'm selecting by default, I'm using the logon language of the user to select the description in that particular language. So if I logged into this SAP system in English language, then it will try to get me the English language description for this material from MAKT table. If I've logged into German language, then it will get me German description if it is maintained in the system. So here, how do I know if this select is successful or not? In the previous session, I talked about this sub-RC field, right? System field, sci sub-RC. So here I can say if sci sub-RC is not initial, that means it has any value other than its initial value, which is 0. That means the select failed. It could not locate the entry. The reason could be either the material does not exist or the description for that material is not maintained in the logon language of the user. So let's focus on the syntax of the message statement. How do you show a message? Here I want to show a message to the user if the select is not successful. I'll say message, the keyword is message. Your message, let's say invalid material or no description maintained in the logon language. Okay, so you say message, your message, and then you say type, and you have to specify the type of message you want to display. There are different types of messages. For example, we have this error message. So if you want to show an error message, you say type E. In uppercase, you have to specify this. If you want to show a warning message, you can say W. If you want to show an information message, you can say I. And there is one more message called abandon, type A. And there's another message called short dump, which is type X. Any situation where you cannot proceed with the program execution unless that error is corrected. For example, in our case, if the user inputs an invalid material, we cannot proceed with the program execution because we need that to process the remaining of our program. So wherever you cannot proceed further with your program execution unless the error is corrected, you show an error message. Okay, type E. In situations where you can continue with the program execution, but you want to warn the user that he missed something, or you're not too sure about what's going to happen because the required information is not provided, but you can still continue with the program execution. In that case, you simply show a warning message to the user. With error message, the program execution stops after the message is displayed to the user. It will not execute the next statement. Whereas with warning message, it will show the message to the user and the user can hit enter on the message, and then it will continue executing the remaining code in your program. Similarly, if you just want to show some information to the user, like he has clicked on save and you want to show any information to the user that, okay, the data has been updated successfully, something like that, then you show type I, informative message. The type of message determines how the message is displayed to the user. We'll see that in just a minute. Similarly, we have type A. This is similar to error message where you cannot proceed further with the program execution. But if you're doing any database updates, this type A message will automatically roll back the updates so that if there is some error situation, you don't go and update half of the data in the database. Right? You either update all the data or none of the data. So with type A message, you have the option of automatically rolling back any database updates that are kept in queue because the program has written some error. Okay. And then we have this short dump message type X. I'll show that in the screen. So first we'll look at error message, how it looks. Because I'm dealing with selection screen, I have to use one event. Don't worry about it. We'll discuss that later about these events. So if I want to validate the language separately, like for example, if I have two fields on the screen and I want to validate whether the material is entered correctly and whether the language is entered correctly, then I'll be writing two select statements. So one select I'll write to Mara to validate only the material, and then another select I'll write to the text table, language table, where I'll see if that is a valid language or not. And then accordingly I'll show two separate messages. Okay, but in our case, just to keep it simple, I'm just doing one validation and showing a common message. So if I execute this program, currently I've kept the message type as E. I'll execute this program and I'll give some invalid material and execute. So this is how the error message is displayed. It is displayed as a red mark in the status bar. If I show a warning message, and I'll write, let's say ST MATNR in the output. After showing the message, if it goes on to execute the next statement, then it should call the debugger, because I'm keeping a breakpoint on this write statement. If it doesn't execute the next statement, then the debugger should not load, right? With error message, when I make it E and give this and execute, it shows me the error. If I hit enter on my keyboard, nothing happens. It's not loading the debugger because it is not going to the next statement. It is just showing the error and stopping there for me to correct the input, right? Now let's see what happens with the warning message. With the warning message, when I execute, it is showing as a yellow exclamatory mark in the status bar, right? But when I hit enter on the keyboard, it is loading the debugger, because after showing the message, it is not stopping with the program execution. It is continuing the program execution. So it's just pausing, showing a message, and if I perform some user action like hit enter on the screen for the message, then it continues executing the next statement in the code. Okay, so it's going to the write statement. So wherever you cannot continue with your program execution unless the error is corrected, go with error message. But your program execution is not dependent on that error, then you can simply display a warning message, because if you feel it may lead to some other issues later. Okay. So the program execution continues. Now, informative message, type I. If I say type I and execute, it is displayed in a pop-up. Okay. This information message is displayed like this. We generally use this to show any informative messages like the database update has been successful, or any action has been completed successfully, anything like that. And once the user clicks on continue here, the program execution will continue. So it will go and execute the next statement in the program code. So it is going to the write statement. So that is your informative message. And abandon message works similar to error message, but it is only applicable if you are doing some database updates and you want to automatically roll back those updates. It's a bit complicated for you to understand what is this database rollback and all these things. We'll talk about this abandon message later when we talk about this something called SAP logical unit of work. So that basically allows us to either update all the data at once in the system or nothing. So either all the data goes or nothing goes into the system to prevent any partial updates. So in that situations, we use type A message, abandon message. And the other type is type X. And remember, you have to give this alphabet in uppercase. If you give a lowercase, it won't work. So all this message type should be maintained with an uppercase alphabet. So if you have spent some time with the SAP system, and you must have come across these short dumps. Whenever there is a situation where the system cannot understand what to do next, it will generate these short dumps. Okay, this we call runtime errors. So if you want to show a runtime error because the user has provided something and you're not too sure what to do, then you can generate this kind of runtime errors by using type X. We generally don't use them, but whenever you're seeing a short dump like this, that's a type X message basically. And this allows you to capture more information while generating the message. For example, if I do something like this, if I do something like, let's say, data v1 type I, value 0, and data I, let me say 10 here, And if I say result equals to, I'll keep it 0. I'll use a variable for 0 so that the system won't know until runtime. Let's say 10 divided by V1. 10 divided by 0. What will happen? Anything by 0 is, the system won't know, right? So this should result in a runtime error. Okay. So this is a runtime error, computing 0 divide, that is raised by the system. So this is the type X message. System generally raises this type X message whenever it cannot understand what to do. So an exception has occurred. The reason for the exception is in the current program, an arithmetic operation divide attempted to use operands of type I to divide by 0. So since anything by 0 is not possible, it is raising a runtime error. So whenever you come across this short dump, that means something happened where the runtime environment could not figure out what to do, or it is an invalid exception to the program execution. So in that situations, it will show this type X messages. And in your application also, if you come across such situations, you can also raise this short dump by using message type as type X. But we generally don't do that. Most of the times we use either error message, warning message, or informative messages. Type A message we only use if you want to perform when you're dealing with the database updates and you want to perform automatic rollbacks. Okay, and type X I don't recommend using it anytime. Instead of that, show a good error message to the user. Okay, so these are the different types of messages. Another way to show these messages, the syntax is simple: message, your message, type, and the type of message. And in the beginning I said that we avoid these literals in the program code, right? For example, if I want to show the same message at a different point in my program, then I have to repeat this literal, right? Because it is not a named data object, and if I want to show the same text in another message or at another place in my program flow, then I have to repeat it. It is not reusable. So here it is occupying some memory while you're maintaining this literal, and if you want the same message again, then you again occupy some memory because you have to again type it, because you cannot reuse these literals. So instead of that, what we do is generally we maintain a text symbol for the message. Go to text elements, text symbols, and give this message, maintain it here, hit enter. Let's say 000. Okay, 000 is my text symbol number. Activate your text symbol, and instead of maintaining the literal here, I can use the text symbol. Text 000. Like that, you can maintain up to 1000 messages in the text symbols. So instead of just using the literal, I am using the text symbol so that I can say text. So I can reuse it basically. So if I want to show the same message multiple times in my program code, I can refer it to use by referring to the text symbol number. So text 000 will point to that message which I just maintained. So it provides basically reusability for your messages. So you can reuse your messages throughout your program. So instead of just the literal, I am replacing the literal that I maintained in single quote with the text symbol number. That's the only difference. So it should show us our message. Sorry. Okay, so it's showing the message from the text symbol. And another advantage of using this text symbol is, one is reusability, obviously. Second advantage is we are basically showing the material description. We are trying to show the material description as per the logon language of the user. Similarly, whenever you are displaying messages, those messages should also be displayed in the logon language of the user, right? If I'm using a text literal, that hard coding that message within single quotes, then it will always display that message, whatever you maintain, right? So if I maintain that message in English, then even if the user has logged into the system in German language, it will still show him the English message, because in the text literal, I maintain it in English, right? If I'm hard coding, it will always display whatever you maintain here. If I say no material exists, it simply prints whatever I'm maintaining here, irrespective of the logon language of the user. Whereas by using text symbols, and if you want to open this text symbol, you don't have to always go to this menu. You can simply double click on the text symbol and it will open that. So if I double click on this text symbol, it will open it. Right, this is a message. I maintain it in English, but I can click on go to translation and maintain translations for my messages. So I can give the target language as DE, for example. Original language is English and target language is German, and you can use Google Translate. Generally, the functional people, if they want this, if this application is used by different users from different countries and they use it in their own respective languages, then the functional guy, when he's giving you the requirement, he'll also give you the translated text. So you simply copy and paste that text. So you can translate every text. So for this message, I can maintain this in German. For example, I'm writing it in English, but whatever it is called in German, I can simply paste that here. Okay. And when I log into this German language into the system and execute the program, it will pick this translated text instead of this text. Whereas if the user logs into the English language, then it will display the English text. Like that, we can maintain different translations. Even for the title of the program, I can maintain translations so that everything is displayed in the logon language of the user. Okay. And SAP system supports more than 23 languages. So if you want to maintain translations in all those languages, then you have to manually maintain translations for each language. If the translation doesn't exist in a particular language, then it will display a blank message. So that's why you have to maintain translations for all the languages. But generally what happens is the functional guy will know which countries are using this application and what is their logon language. So accordingly, we'll maintain for those countries only. So here you can maintain the translation for these messages. So by using text symbols, you have two advantages. One is you can reuse the message. Second, you can maintain the translation for your messages so that it always displays the message in the logon language of the user, which is not possible if you're using a text literal to show your message. Now this text symbol has one drawback, that is this is local to the program. So these text symbols are local to this program for which you are creating these text symbols. So I can reuse them within the program. What if I'm creating multiple programs and in each of those programs I'm using similar messages? I want to show similar messages, or I want to maintain these messages centrally so that tomorrow if I want to change the message text, then I should be able to change it at one place and it should automatically reflect in all those programs because all these programs are related to the same project. So how do we centralize this? If I'm maintaining, let's say if I'm showing 20 messages in my program and I've created 20 text symbols, and if I want to show the same messages in another program, then I have to create these text symbols again in that program. Okay, either I can copy from this program and paste it in another program. That is possible. But if I have to change it, then I have to change it in both the programs in the future. So if the message changes, I have to come and change in this program and then go and change in that program. So you have to maintain it at multiple places. Instead of that, we can create something called a message class. The transaction code is SC91. here you can create a message class. It has nothing to do with object-oriented programming or classes. It's just called message class. And this is a global object, so we should give the name as Z. It should start with Z. Give some name. Create this class. And if you go to this messages, so it's a repository object. It's asking me to enter a package. Here I can maintain my message. What is the message? I'll copy this message. Okay. Save it. Now this is the message class name I've created, and the message number is 000. Now this message class can be used in any program. So in any program you want to show messages from this message class, you can do that. And tomorrow if you change a message in this message class, then it will automatically reflect in all the programs that are using this message class to show the messages. So how do you show a message from the message class? The syntax is a bit different. With hard-coded text and text symbols, you say message, your message type, and you say the message type. If you want to use a message class, then you say message, E for error, W for warning, I for information, A for abandon, X for short dump. So you give that prefix, and then the message number, and in brackets you can give the message class name. Okay, there is no space. This is how you can display the message from the message class. So the type of message in lowercase followed by the message number, and in brackets you can give the message class name. Now the system will pick the message from the message class. Okay, so now if I execute, it is showing the message, but it is coming from the message class. So if I change the message in the message class, let's say, I'll just simply say no material exists. And execute my program again. It is showing it from the message class. So we can centrally maintain these messages. So I can create another program, and in that program also I can show the message from this message class. And if you are showing messages from the same message class, if all the messages that you're showing in your program are from the same message class, then instead of maintaining this message class name in brackets for each message, you can use this keyword in the report statement. You can say message ID and give the message class name here, and the system will automatically assume that all these messages are from this message class. So in the message statement I can simply say the type of message and the followed by the message number. So E000, and the system will know which message class to use by what you are maintaining at the report statement level. Okay, so this also you can do. So now it should display the same message. Okay, so this is your message class. So you can show messages by hard coding it in your program, or using text symbols, or from the message class, and we've seen the advantage, disadvantage of each one of them. And with message classes you also have another advantage. So for the message class also you can maintain translation. If you want to maintain translation, click on this go to translation and maintain the translation for your message. But it also has a couple of additional options that you can use. One is long text. For example, sometimes it is not possible to convey all the information to the user in your message because there's a limitation. There's a 132 character limitation. The maximum length of your message can be 132 characters because the status bar width only supports that much. If you try to show anything more than that, then the status bar cannot accommodate that message, right? But sometimes it's not easy to explain the user what's going wrong in those 132 characters. For example, if I try to create this program again, it is showing me a message. Okay, the program name already exists, please choose another name. If you notice, it is not a static message, it is a dynamic message. It is showing my program name in the message. So far, all the messages we've shown are static messages. It is showing some static message. So you can also show dynamic messages like this, where you can include some values in the message dynamically. And if I double click on this message, it opens a window where it explains more about the message. Diagnosis, procedure, okay? Because all this text cannot be accommodated in the single line message in the status bar. So we can provide the user an option where he can double click on the message and we can provide more information to the user so that he can understand how to fix that error, basically, right? So I won't explain these two things, but it is possible to do using message classes. It is not possible with text symbols. So I want you to research and find out and tell me how we can show dynamic messages, where I can include, for example, when the user inputs this material number, instead of just showing the material is invalid or the material does not, invalid material, forgive me, the message is wrong. I'll just say invalid material. So instead of saying invalid material, I want to show a message where the material, whatever the user has input here, so it should be the material HJ, HJ, HHJ does not exist, something like that. So I want to show a dynamic message. So whatever the user inputs in this field should be displayed in the message text. Okay, so it's very easy. Just do some research, search online if you want how to show dynamic messages and how to provide more information when the user double clicks on the message. Okay, so figure out these two things about messages, and I'll be again adding another session where I'll provide an answer to this. So if you couldn't figure out, then you can check that video to know how to show a dynamic message and how to show more information to the user while displaying the message. So in short, you use messages to provide some interactive messages to the user so that he is aware of what's going on. In this case, if I don't show this message, then the user will input some material number, and if he doesn't see the output, he may assume that the program is not working fine. He won't be realizing that he has entered the wrong materials, right? It's important for us to show it to the user that he has entered the invalid material. In such situations, we can use these messages. So the syntax is message, your message. If you're using text symbols or literals, then the syntax is message, your message, then say type, and then the type of message. If you're using message class, then you say message and the type of message in lowercase, then the message number. If you just want to do it this way, then make sure you include the message class name in the report statement by using this message ID addition. Otherwise, you can also give the message class name in brackets. For example, for most of the messages, I want to use this message class, but for a couple of messages, I want to use a different message class. In that case, so here if you see, this is also dynamic message. User, this user is currently editing this program. So in this case, if I don't specify anything here, then it will by default look at this message class. But if I want to show a message from a different message class, then I can give a different message class name. Okay, so I'll create this class and I'll maintain some messages in this class. So this message will come from this message class. So if you are giving in brackets, it will pick the message from that message class only. If you are not giving the message class in brackets, then it will use the default message class you have assigned for the program. Okay, so this way you can use multiple message classes in your program as well. So that's about your messages. So we've seen how to show different types of messages and their purpose. And with this information, I think we have enough knowledge to work on our next assignment. So in the next video, we'll work on our next assignment where we'll try to implement all those things we have learned so far in this course. Okay, so see you in the next video.